Well, it's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the interview with Craig Veltri.
Thank you, Megan Pennington, and welcome to the interview. Our guest is an
Hello.
award winning country singer songwriter whose songs are as simple as they are savvy. Her latest, You Got That Lovin', is a chill bit of twangy that hits a lot of familiar notes and verbiage without being trite. We will play You Got That Lovin' at the end of the episode. When she's not continuing to add to a respectable and fun catalog of songs, she's constantly touring. She's open for the likes of Thomas Rhett, Kit Moore, and Brandy Clark. She has toured the UK extensively and most recently served as an on air host for Country Line TV while having good hair, I must add. Recording in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and calling in from Nashville, Tennessee. Here she is, Kirstie Kraus. Kirstie, welcome to the interview.
I love that. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
I appreciate it. So, born in Florida, moved to Janeville, Wisconsin, about 45 minutes south of Madison when
Yeah.
you were six, before you were 6 years old, at which point you mark the moment that you knew you wanted to be a singer.
Yeah.
I'll ask you specifically how you told your family that and nearby elders that this is what you wanted to do with your life, but how early in your life were you singing? Is your earliest memories like singing in and around the house?
Yeah. I mean, I remember listening to the Amy Grant album and the Gloria Estefan album, and they had like massive albums at the time when I was like 3 years old. I remember like helping my mom clean
Are we talking like
the
Baby Baby, Heart in
yeah,
Motion? I think was the
baby,
record.
baby. And I was like, these songs are so fun and they make people dance. And like, here I am dancing with my family, like cleaning the living room because you can't really do that as a 3-year-old, but we were
Oh,
helping.
my mama tried,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I remember that, but I got asked a question recently, like what's the first like solo or something that I remember. I do remember I was 5, so I started doing solos in school, but I was jumping up on picnic tables at 2 years old, and I don't remember it, but there's video footage of this. And I declared though, it was really like my kindergarten teacher talked to my mom when I was in kindergarten and I was 5, and she was like, listen, you need to do something with this. And my mom was like, I don't know. We just sing Barney and at home and we sing like the American kids songs and Joni Bartels had a cassette tape and I just knew all the words, but she didn't think anything of it. And then it was by the time I was 6 at school, they said, when I grow up, I want to be, and I put ASINGR. So like I write songs and I sing, but like never great at spelling.
do you still have that paper?
I have a picture of it. I haven't located. I don't know if the paper would be like at my parents' house, but yeah, I have a picture of it.
I saw an interview of you describing the music that your parents were listening to. You mentioned the adult contemporary that you were dancing around to around the time. You mentioned your parents were really mostly into classic rock. You become a country singer, and I will frame it like this: was your first song that you wrote a country song? You said you wrote your first song at 11. Was that a country song?
Yeah, it was actually it was a gospel song. It was just
Okay.
like a Christian song and it was like a chorus, you know, small verses, hit back with the chorus, and I was jumping on my parents' bed. So that was like the first song I wrote. But first like complete song, yeah, I was like 11 years old and those were it was just about like one was called Friendships. It was about just being a kid, really. I mean, I feel like I didn't have, and then the next, I
Was
feel
it
like a couple years
almost
later, I
like
was writing
Taylor
about
writing
boy
15, not
crushes.
too far removed from being 15?
Yeah. And, boy crushes, I feel like I didn't have like a whole lot to like write about, but it was super fun. And writing the first time I went to Nashville, I was 11. So I feel like that was just a bug for me right there. And then discovering Leanne Rimes and country music, and Shania Twain was crossing over at like 7 years old. They, the crafting of the song, like really drew me in. And it was like a story, but also like incorporating feelings, where to me, like all the divas were way more feeling based songs, but they kind of married both. So it like pulled me over.
I was going to ask you if Shania was what kind of turned you on to country music. You are obviously not the only woman of a certain age. My partner in crime, Megan Pennington, we've had conversations many times about her influence from Shania. I've had many women on this program that have talked about the phenomenon that Shania Twain was back at the time. What was, and obviously it drew you down, was it, you mentioned Leanne, but did you look at Shania and just like, okay, that and all the trappings in between?
Yeah, I feel like she just crafted her own sound in an own lane, but yet she was accepted. And in like the commercial market of country music, even though she was doing this crossover and both. And I was like, I feel like she really found something super unique and cool. And even songs and like later albums after I discovered her, like Waiter, Bring Me Water, like who writes a song like that? But it's such a catchy, fun song and get you good. And I was just like, this is so fun. And then Leanne Rimes I was drawn to because she has all like the dramatics, and I was grew up as a theater kid. And so like her like commitment and undeniable, those two songs and that whole record is just like so dramatic. And I was so here for it.
Well, I want to go back also to you mentioned the commercial viability of Shania Twain. Uh, Keep in mind, most of the records that made her big, The Woman in Me and Come On Over, that was co-produced with her eventual and later on ex-husband, Mutt
Mhm.
Lange, who had a vaunted history with a lot of the classic rock uh stalwarts that were really big: AC/DC, Def Leppard, Brian Adams. So was it the soundscape also that drew you in
Yeah.
with
And
Shania?
like building off of that, I think when I have a song like You Got That Lovin' or Dabba Dolly, two very different, like in the same playing field, but I would choose different producers for that song. Like I'm very much the marriage between a producer and an artist and how they work together and the sound that they can get out together. I mean, that's so important. If I had time to learn all the production, I would myself, but I love to just co-produce, executive produce, and like really drive it. I do not know the buttons all per se, but I think it's very important to have the right person that helps you bring the song to life.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 buttons on
That's
this
a lot of buttons.
knobs on that's too much. Oh my. Oh, okay. Well, uh all I'm saying is the doorway into doing that is not as difficult as you think. I'm kind of in the process of getting into the production side, but I love the collaborative side of things too, and I do want to talk about that in a little bit. We're here with Kirstie Kraus on the Craig-Veltri interview, proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. For more on Scarfire Media, please visit our website scarfiremedia.com. Check out all the fine podcasts here on the Scarfire Media Podcast Network: the Cool Brother Podcast, the Deep Lore Podcast with Emmy Susani, Mommy Rockstar with Megan Pennington coming soon. And thank you for listening to the Craig-Veltri interview. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's not bury the lead any further. You Got That Lovin' just dropped this past week, and it is a really 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 fun song, and it is a kind of a return to your collaborators. You had it's a co-write between you, Mike Loudermilk, and Ariel Jade, who you did a single with this past year. How did you three come together on this? Uh, who was there somebody that they were thinking about their loving?
It, as far as what anyone was thinking about that I don't know. I think Ariel and I share definitely an independent woman, like we're gonna open these businesses and we're gonna do it and
All
like
the honeys and
entrepreneur
making money,
spirit.
throw your hands up at me. So
Yeah. And so it was because we wrote that I Know No Better together, put that out. Then she was like, well, would you want to write with Mike Loudermilk? And he's in and out of RCA all the time. She has a studio in RCA. She works with him directly on a bunch of songs and also Wood Newton. And that's how I met her. I was going in to write with Wood. He was like, you need to meet Ariel. So that started and that collaboration came about. And then she was like, we should write with Mike Loudermilk. And I was like, yeah, let's write with him. And so this is our first write with the three of us. And then he was like, yeah, let's go produce it.
he's a very well-known name in Nashville. He's mostly known for a song that he wrote with Crystal Gale back in the early 2000s, but he's been like his office in RCA, so he's been on the scene for quite a while. And he does all the
Yeah.
instrumentation on this, and it does very much have the song that is has very much that early 2000s. It almost sounds like it could have been, if it weren't for the leaning in gender, it could have been something that showed up on a Kenny Chesney album around that time. So uh talk to me about, I mean, was it is partially his song, was the instrumentation what you decide decide to go with, or was this all his suggestion?
I mean, we definitely had multiple conversations before I even went over there to do the recording. And I was like, I do this beach country, and then I do this like 70s rock kind of country, bluesy. I was like, we need to marry all of this. Like this song, and even when we were writing it, I love at the bottom of the document writing notes like, okay, this song is kind of like a robust follow me, but we're gonna bluesy countryfy it. We're gonna have a little bit of that like signature lick that is an extension of Follow
It's a
Me.
great
And
lick. I've been humming it all week.
oh, I love it. Dee, 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 dee. And then as he's grabbing instruments, I'm like, like, no, not, or not that sound, or not. And he's so fast and so steady with his hands. Like, even when he's recording bass, it was blowing my mind. I've never seen like the bass that consistent in sound as he's recording. And he just can take notes right there on the spot, and he's super fast about it. And so, yeah, I was very impressed. I was very grateful that it was just the two of us in the room to create something.
It's People will be surprised that's a lot of the time these songs get written and these songs get created, that it's usually just one person doing that. That's for the most part true about the last record that I did, previous I should say, because anytime I say last, I can hear somebody saying, I hope it's your last. But so my previous record, Dallas Jack, did, I'd say, about 90% of the instruments on that particular record. You talk so vibrantly about such a vibrant song, and yet you told me that the song almost didn't get recorded. Um, I'm gonna reserve smart comments until I ask this question: why?
As an independent artist, I love like that I have this say on what to put out when, and I do a lot of trusting in God and that I'm on the right path. And so he will just like put in opportunities in my path as I go. And I just like saw this and I saw this opportunity. I was like, okay, that'd be cool. The three of us will go in and record it. But then it didn't really fit, for Ariel, and like she had other release stuff going on. So then the conversation was like, okay, that's it. Like we just won't. And I was like, I kept subconsciously thinking about it. And I was like, I wonder if Mike would be cool, and have just the two of us do it. Because I was so bummed about that news at first. But then, like, a couple days later, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask him and see. And he was totally open to it and continuing to do it, even though it was just the two of us. And like, he has more of the rapport and has worked more with Ariel. So yeah, I was happy he did, and I was happy that I kind of like went out of my comfort zone, and I was like, maybe just the two of us can work on it. Hmm.
Well, is that a common thing that you found in your career? Do you find that that the songs that you come out with, they're running up against schedule, there's conflicts with it, or are you or do you tend to just bulldoze project to project? Or is this an outlier? Is what I'm trying to say.
I think it's kind of normal, like especially with collaborations or like talking about collaborations. I've done 8 now, and so you have to consider both schedules, but also I have to physically like make sure I'm in town, one to record, but then make sure I'm in town to physically do all the admin work because
I
it's
see your touring schedule. I know how difficult that must be.
yeah, so I can't like work on a song and bring a song to life if I'm on the road. So I think good signs is for new music coming is if you see that there's windows where I'm in Nashville longer than normal, like longer than a 2-day, 4-day window. That means I'm definitely working on new music. Just because it's easier, I found it so much easier for me. And if I need to jump in the studio and add something else or talk back and forth, or like I'm much more better here listening on my speakers, the whole thing.
I wanted to ask you about the collaborative nature. You mentioned the 8 collaborations that you've done. You've done many duets over the years, and obviously you mentioned the people that you've worked with in studios. Is that to say that you prefer co-writing at this point, having co-writers?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I when I write songs by myself, they don't see the light of day that much because it's for me to get out emotions. And I like putting out music that is groovy and that people like I'm not the sad girl person on Spotify to find for that music. Like I don't want to be that, but I think
You do not have
behind the
Lana
scenes I
Del
write
Rey
everything.
vibes about you at all. Maybe in production, but not in the
Well,
content.
it's deep. Like I've written down titles and I'm like, ooh, that's for another day. Like that is, we're gonna table that for when I'm ready to dive into that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
this is
music
before
is
the coffee, right?
music's always been the thing that allows me to be playful and escape and like enjoy and like uplift my energy. And so I want to put stuff like groovy things. I've always loved the bass and just like getting people to like groove and dance and be happy.
I got this advice. I'm not going to name the person that gave this to me, but I mentioned to this person that I was doing a lot of co-writes, and he said, make sure that you're doing more solo writes because you don't want to lose your uniqueness. And I love getting advice from people, and I'm very very receptive to that advice. I didn't agree with that advice at all because I've always been of the opinion, uh, no person is an island, and you can't keep it if you don't give it away. Do you? I mean, is that what you find the reward? Do you find more of what you're looking for when you're going into these co-writes for those reasons?
I think in order to be not follow the algorithms and what AI is telling us to listen to, I think when you do collaborate and you bring two people from very different backgrounds and different musical influences, you create something that is unique and different and something that I wouldn't do. Like, I mean, even talking about writing with Ariel Jade, she's from Mississippi and her style is different than mine. And I would have never written a song called I'll roll you in the river, don't need my daddy because I keep my own guns. Like, these are not lyrics I would have put out. But because we were able to do that, I I've said before, like that allows my sandbox to be bigger because I'm like, ooh, okay, like we can dip into that. And it's a duet. So it's almost like I can get away with more. But I also think like if you just write with yourself, yeah, you're not expanding your yourself.
Well, you mentioned being by mentioned rolling in the river. It seems that you're more comfortable by the ocean, not merely because you're originally from Florida, but much of your output does have that. You've referred to it as trop rock.
Mhm.
Now, the Jimmy Buffett influence is strong, not merely because, like Jimmy, you qualify as a journalist, but and it goes into the sunshine and the vibes. Being in Nashville, being from Wisconsin, how often do you get back to the shoreline?
A lot. Some people ask me if I moved to Florida at one point because I was playing down there so much. And I was like, no, I just when you play down there, then you get more opportunities because you're playing down there and they offer you, new shows. So I've been to Baton Rouge and Biloxi and Gulf Shores and Orange Beach a ton, Mobile and Florida, Pensacola, and that Florida stretch pretty much to like Sarasota. And I just love it. I love the ocean, like you said. I was just down on a cruise, and immediately when you talked about that, I was at Megan's Bay I think it was our first stop. No, it was our second stop. So that was St. Thomas and Megan's Bay, and I swam in the ocean the whole time, which meant the teal water reflected. I was sunburnt. The rest of the trip, I had to wear like a long sleeve, but it was worth it. It was so worth it to me.
Do you find it's reinvigorating, or is it almost like going back to the source for you? I tend to believe that human beings love being near water because deep down evolutionary, that's where we crawled from millions of years ago. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not that deep for you. Is it just the view, or but that seems like your happy place. It's certainly the one you go to in your music the most.
Absolutely. I think water in general with I don't know much about it, but I remember reading one time that my signs and the way it works is that water was like a really good balancer for like a fiery background person. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. Also being, like you said, from the womb and then just being born in Florida, I feel like I am made to be down in that thick, warm weather. I'm just a lot happier when the sun's out and I can go to the water.
You seem also very expert and passionate about the business side of the music business. I notice in your discography that that's mostly singles. You do have a full length record. Um, what is the strategy behind you doing singles? Is it financial? Is it we have the song, let's just get it out there? You have said in an interview that you like the idea of doing albums, but what? So why are you sticking to singles at this point?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I would already have like 7 albums out, and in my mind, that's how it is. It's mostly financial, just to doing music like full time, and then just being hired as a contractor, as a host. You've heard a lot of people like they do music and they have side hustles and they do, this, and I really want my day to day to be 100% focused on the art and being an artist and putting out art. And so I want to survive. So like if I get an email, I got an email recently and someone's like, "Yeah, if you want to record this song with this producer, I will pay for half of it." And I'm like, Like those are all very good incentives to like, I mean, I loved the song anyways, but I feel like I'm also biased with my music. I think we all should be, right?
Of
But
course,
in a
everybody loves
perfect
their
world,
own brand.
right, I am looking for the exact and hopefully landing Christian Bush to record my next album. That would be amazing.
For those
And
not
so
familiar, who is that person you coughed under your breath poorly?
yeah. Poorly. Oh, it was part of Sugarland. They're kind of revamping and touring, but he very much focuses on production and does Megan Roney. He did Lindsay L, her Continuum project, and so many others. And he's done stuff in the trop rock community as well, because his songs and solo project is in that vein. Trop rock, aka beach country, whatever you want to call it. Some people hear trop rock and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, and it's a whole community in itself, a whole loving, beautiful, fundraising community in itself. I've gotten so hooked. It's been since 2021 that I went to their first festival, and now I'm just part of the Fin Fam. Like I am a president. I'm
That's
the new president of
fantastic.
the Music City Finns. And so anyone who's into Jimmy Buffett and wants to raise money, volunteer, do charity work with us, ask me about it. But it's a great.
Oh,
So
I
Music
will.
City Finns.
Um, well, we'll go to the questionnaire in a second or two, but there are. I mean, the list is longer than what I put forth in the intro of all the people that you've have opened for. And you mentioned in that last answer Megan Maroney, who during her tour with Kenny Chesney had several instances where she got to go out and perform in front with Kenny in the main set. Did you have you had a moment with that among the many that you've opened for, or at the
I've
very least, some very nice FaceTime with?
Yeah, yeah. FaceTime, there was the only thing I can think of was like Blake Shelton was at this there was a festival called Country on the River, and it's no longer going, and it's like right on that border of Dubuque and Wisconsin, and like kind of right there. So it's not that far away. And it was like one of their first years doing this festival. It's massive. Like Blake Shelton was there, like massive artist was there. He came over. He was wearing a sombrero, lit. He was so lit, and he was like, "Raw," and I was like, "You guys know this is the place to be when Blake Shelton's in the house." And then next thing I know, the keyboard player who also played with Jody Messina came on stage, and we did "Bye Bye" by Jody Messina
Wow,
with this keyboard player. And we like cranked up the keys, and he was like pounding on these keys. And
it's a great keyboard part. So
yeah, yeah. So we were like really featuring him, and the this tent. I wasn't even on the main stage. This tent was like huge. There was these thousand people like cramped in this tent. Like the Midwest is so good for country music. They just love it. People who don't go up there don't know. But
America's breadbasket.
yeah, and so it was that was definitely like a funny highlighting moment, you know.
So as far as moving forward, you have eyes on doing an album. You have a dream producer at this point? Um, is there a timeline for new music coming out from you sooner than this?
I don't have a timeline to give you. I know that I'm talking about three or four different projects right now in the future. So I have an
Oh,
idea
I
of
know the
kind of when
feeling.
they're gonna land, but nothing I can directly say until it's like a 100% go type of thing. But there's a lot of hands involved, and one of them has this producer, one of them has this producer, and then there's always the album that I'm just like, okay, rearranging songs. I've definitely asked like OG fans, and I probably will put out an email that's like, here's what I'm looking at. Here's kind of alternates. I want your votes. I feel like this go around with an album, I would love to hear from people to help me. And it also really does, it really helps me because I'm biased. And I'm just like, well, it'd be great if I could put all of them.
It crowdsourcing and talking about that. I mean, you hear about you know aspiring authors and how much they torture themselves and toil themselves over the novel that they've been working on.
Yeah.
Sometimes with a lot of the records that I've done over the years, I understand the feeling
Yeah.
in total.
It's
It
more
has.
daunting for a record. Like I have a group of songs that can fit over, in this kind of group and this kind of group. I found it easier to explain my songwriting in eras. Like this is my icon era, write a song about Dolly and Willie and Tom Petty and have this, and I kind of get in this groove, and this is my era of this. And then I had like a Sheryl Crow era for a long
Mm.
time where I was just like writing her kind of style and vibes. And I feel like I'm definitely in the very uplifting, like comforting love era right now.
I don't know what my era is at the moment, but I've definitely gone through Lyle Lovett, Alison Krauss a couple of years ago. Before that, my one record sounded exactly like Tom Petty, and
Yeah.
in between, I was just writing songs thrown in. Mine was trying to fit in on Music Row and not exactly fitting in anywhere. So, uh, yeah, I think every artist can attest to that for sure. Well, Kirstie, we have a nice way of closing here on the Craig Veltri interview. It is called the No Kidding Questionnaire. A couple
Okay.
of rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to your mind, whenever you're ready, and away we go.
All
Childhood
right.
celebrity crush.
Oh, well, for a long time it was Ben Affleck, young Ben Affleck.
I remember you saying you liked him in a rather horrible movie, Pearl Harbor, correct?
Yeah, I liked it because I mean, they had Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, but it was also like beautiful music. And I was, Faith Hill was one of my top fives, and she
Was
had a
Matt
song
Damon
on
in
that record.
in Pearl Harbor? I can't seem to recall him being in
Her
that.
song was called There You'll Be,
There
and
You'll
I
Be. I
I
remember,
definitely
but
have
Matt
like a
Damon.
recording of that, of me singing that song. Like I was like,
Yeah, that was I love that period of Faith Hill when she was, she became, the Breathe album made her gangbusters. Then she did her very best to try to be Celine Dion. I liked the performances, but it was like Nashville completely rejected. But back to back to Affleck. What was it about the guy? The hair, the eyes, the dimple in the chin.
yeah, he looked like cleaned up, but also a little scruffy, and like the dark features, and the height, and he just had this like poised kind of swagger about him, and I liked that. It
Fo-
just
Follow-up question: is that the kind of man that you found yourself dating over the years?
I've I know I date more about from energy and how if we're on the same playing field as far as that. And so definitely like personality and energy is huge, and communication is what I go for.
Moving on with the questionnaire, what was words? What was your favorite subject in school?
I really liked math.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I was, even though I had to show every single thing, I was good at math because I also did piano, and piano, like, I could see how it was all similar, and I could see how math came into music.
Hmm. Did you have a preferred subject? Algebra, geometry, calculus, perhaps?
I definitely didn't like geometry. I remember like loving algebra, and calculus was like that. I remember liking that a lot. I just liked that there was like a definitive answer. And I could like, this is how I get there. This is it. Because I feel like everything else in my life is not definitive. Like our jobs are never done. There's always stuff to do. There's always like, and there's no direct answer. Everyone has a different path, and it's kind of open, and the creative world is open, where like that was like a balancing thing, I feel like.
Is that perhaps why you took to songwriting so much? Because almost the mathematics of it, you can kind of give it a straight line and make the nonsensical make sense.
Yeah, I remember learning about, the classical music and Renaissance, and like doing my music minor in college and testing out on piano. And I really enjoyed the math part about it, and how, and like they would ask us to compose a song based on these rules, but then this era was like these different rules. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like to see how music evolutionized.
What occupation other than your own would you like to attempt?
I mean, I always said if music did not exist at all, which would be such a sad world for us. It would be so sad.
Oh God, I'd be dead 10 years ago.
Yeah. I would definitely do event planning. And in some ways I feel like we host events all the time, but I'm very detail oriented, and I like kind of coming up with something and then making it all happen in the details. And I definitely looked in college, they made me look at other careers as well. There's like a little binder, and I had to go into it. And so I remember meeting with an event planner and asking her questions.
I would say that of all of the artists, and I've interviewed close to 200 people on this show, most of them singer-songwriters.
I love that.
The yeah, I know, toot,
That's amazing.
but what I'm getting to is that I your online presentation, you are probably the most seemingly organized artist I've seen. Like every single bit of promotion that I've seen has got to be is the most detailed. It is the most succinct. Um, Maybe you should have been an event planner. Is what I'm getting that. Uh, Maybe I could ask you this: is that just being incredibly prepared, or is that just something that have you always been like that? Is it
Yeah, no, I mean I keep that in mind. I really don't I feel like I have all this content and like, I've done this this event and this event this week, but I don't want to overstimulate. Like I really try to post what is needed, like still be able to give glimpses of my life, but I'm not just gonna like throw it all up on online. I really do want it to feel like I'm not doing that, and it is thought about. And around the single, I and singles, I want to also give it enough space where I'm celebrating it, and I'm still talking about it for X amount of months, and I kind of just have my version of how I do marketing. I graduated in marketing and sales, like a business degree, so that's been helpful. But as far as keeping up with all of these different social media platforms and how they change literally weekly, I mean, it's in anybody's game.
well, maybe well, you're doing a good job at keeping the plate spinning, but on the other side of the coin, I don't care how many bags of money have been handed to you, Ms. Kraus. What job would you never want to attempt?
Never. I
And it
mean,
can be something you have done before.
okay, it's not, but my sister is an OR nurse, so any sort of nerd, like I'm such a baby. I do not want my shot. Like I don't want a needle near me. Like smells, I have a very keen sense of smell, like more than even most females. And so I could not do a job like that, or like the taking care of, we don't have to go in much detail, but taking care of
Mm.
elderly or doing like in that environment, it would be really hard for me to not be sensitive.
One thing that I've shared many times on this program, and a thing that I haven't shared on this program, the one thing that I have shared on this program before, that would be my answer to anything involving being near an emergency room or any kind of hospital situation where I would have to be in the position to say to somebody, "We did everything we could, but they're
Yeah.
gone." The second thing that I haven't shared on this program, I used to be the worst when it came to doing shots and getting blood drawn. I When I was 4 years old, this is true. I was 4 years old. They needed three nurses to hold me down
Oh,
so they could administer some kind of a shot at a doctor's office. As penance, I try to ever since 2001, I have always tried to at least once a year give blood. Just something that some kind of selfless act, something that I'm
yeah.
fearful of, and not be so selfish about things. So,
I love
um,
that.
well, you have been around the world. So maybe this can be an international answer. What is your go-to food on a road trip?
Ooh. Internationally, I want the English breakfast as much as humanly
Bangers and
possible.
mash.
I mean, they do all that protein. They're like, yeah, beans and bacon and sausage and eggs, and then hash browns and tomatoes and mushrooms, all on the same plate. Like that is like how they start their day. I'm like, sign me up. But road snacks would be that Lenny and Larry's cookies, those protein cookies.
I've heard of them.
Those save
I
me for
I
sure.
I need to try them.
They do save me if I just, yeah, I can't stop anywhere. Otherwise I do a lot of wraps. Like put turkey, put hummus, put some mayonnaise, roll it up. Wawa's really good too. It's in the South.
I uh, I I am from Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania. I mean, families go to war over Sheets and Wawa. Um,
Nice.
uh, Sheets coffee is better. They do make better sandwiches.
Okay.
Um, I There have been a few items that I've been really impressed by Wawa.
They have
I,
everything.
it
They have everything.
Yes.
And like obviously Bucky's is super nice and convenient, and like I look the burritos, like
Oh, I
just
will
getting
always
some,
stop for a chicken burrito at
yeah.
Buc-ee's.
You can't beat the price for what you're getting. And so I'll stop or like a fruit plate, like a fruit thing, or I love those eggs with like the protein little pack.
Hmm.
Eggs with the nuts, with the cheese, or like the venison sausage. Yeah.
I've heard you mention a couple of times that you are something of an aficionado when it comes to coffee. What's your favorite roast, and how do you take your coffee?
Ooh. Well, I do Rise. I've been doing Rise coffee for like some years now. And right now I'm doing it where it's the Rise coffee meets the chai. And I put them both together, add some almond milk and just like raw baking sugar and put that in and like stir it with my little whisk and I'm good to go.
Sounds almost like a latte, I think, correct?
It definitely is. It's a sweeter thing, especially with the chai rise involved.
I think I know the answer to this one as well, but if you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
I mean, I would I would have dinner with Jesus. I would,
That's a popular one. I've had that one on here a couple of times.
yeah, it's hard to, or Michael Jackson. He's just like his brain and the way he writes, or one of the studs over from the Beatles, like just any of these people that I'm just like, you're amazing. Like but I feel like if you're sitting down with Jesus, you're just feeling the love. Like just literally sitting in his vicinity, it's like a whole warm blanket over you. I couldn't even imagine. Like it would be like I don't even know if I could form sentences, I would just be in awe. So yeah, that's my
Sounds like the
favorite.
Mercy Me song. You can only imagine. Um, well,
Mhm.
I you are a very pleasant person. I don't think that you peeve easily, but what is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, okay. If I've heard it, like if someone who repeats themselves a bunch,
Oh boy, why I'm not in
it's
customer service.
yeah, it is a pet peeve. Like sometimes I'm like, I heard it the first two times. Like I got it. I'll let you know if I didn't, like or um people that will repeat things, but then they reword it, and we're at like time five or six, and they're like taking forever to do the point, you know? Because my ADD brain is like, whoa, we got that. Can we move on? Like we got like,
I again, why I'm not in customer service. Uh, Kirstie, what is your biggest pet peeve? Not just kidding. What last question of the questionnaire? What is the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
um, gosh, don't sign anything.
Don't sign anything, especially without a lawyer present, right?
Yeah, and just really, really check references. And I think when you're running a small business, like the people that you bring on board, you just really need to make sure that they're the right people. So don't jump into it at all. And just work with them for a good like 6+ months and see how that works. There's no reason to yeah, jump into it, especially if you got to find out if they do business like you do business.
Hmm. Spoken like somebody who has a business major, I've always said that part of the curriculum, forget algebra, give kids a sales course. At the very least, they'll be able to spot BS from a blimp in a fog storm and be better equipped to deal with. You're never going to use algebra. I can guarantee you that at my age. You will run into somebody trying to scam you. It happens all the time, and a simple
Mhm.
sales course, a simple business course that would shut that stuff down in a heartbeat. I believe that. But
Yeah.
well, last bit of business here, and this should be your favorite part of this entire hour or so. It is time for Shane self promotion. You got that lovin' is on all streaming. Where can we find it? Where can we find you? You are touring like a mad woman. Plug your pluggables. Fire away.
Yeah, wherever you listen to music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, all those things, YouTube, everything's on the website, kirstiekraus.com. Spell it like that. And Pretty much every social media thing is Kirstie Kraus. I think it's a little different on TikTok, but I'm on all of them, so feel free to connect.
Nope. And I'm glad we did. And this was a wonderful conversation. And I, again, dig your music, dig your overall vibe. Hopefully, this ain't the last time we're chatting. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Craig Veltri interview.
Oh, thank you so much. I wholeheartedly agree. This was wonderful. Thank you.
The Craig Veltri interview, where Craig Veltri interviews wonderful people, is a production of Scarfire Media, the voice of the independent artist. Written and edited by Craig Veltri. Your announcer is Megan Pennington. The opening theme, Shut Up, I Love You, written by Trenton Chandler and Craig Veltri. Performed by Craig Veltri, produced by Jack Gavin. Inside the Cabin, the debut album from Moonshine Vagabonds, is available now on all streaming. Support Moonshine Vagabonds by downloading direct from Bandcamp. Time now to update the event calendar because you must know where I am at all times. April 10th, Friday, April 10th, I will be at Grapes in a Glass in Canton, Ohio from 8 to 11 p.m. That's a solo gig. The next two, it'll be Moonshine Vagabond gigs, starting with Saturday, April the 11th, Bigham Tavern in Bridgewater, PA from 7 to 10 p.m. Then April 13th, Bigham Tavern in Mount Washington, also from 7 to 10 p.m. Both of those gigs brought to you by Root Down Entertainment. For full dates, including Pittsburgh, New York City, and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, visit my website, craig-veltri.bandzoogle.com, for booking info, including full band and this podcast. Email me at craig-veltri-official@gmail.com. You can find the interview on Facebook by searching the Craig Veltri interview, YouTube at Craig Veltri Music, and you can find me on Instagram, or as my old roommate, the Tommy Thomas, used to call it, Instagirl, at craig.veltri. For Kirstie Kraus, I'm Craig Veltri, and this has been the Craig Veltri interview. With that, I'll pass. Here's the latest from Kirstie Kraus. It's You Got That Lovin' on the Craig Veltri interview, proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network.